Happy New Year! It is now the year 2026. Happy New Year! Hi, I'm Chris Vangelus Internet, and I'm hosting one live stream today. That is Roman numeral 1 live stream today in parentheses. Hello, and welcome if you're viewing it right now. Let me go say hello to all the names I see. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna... Wait, should I try the... Wait, this is in Top Chat! You can screw with me. What if I go participants? Oh, there we go. Hello! Adam Rockmore6410, Adamus Prime 24, Logos Minor Long was here, Mistake Boy, Rock Nerd Radio, Sam Wellbell, Shockwave, Vimus Prime, Sky Seu, I saw you pop up, Lana Joe 87, Sports Peppers, I just saw you pop up, Mischievous Turtle, Tombot 74, Valkysis, I just saw you pop up, TFA Cliff, Video Aims, Verspringen, I just saw you pop up, Bison Newton. I'm gonna stop looking at this now because I think some of you might not want to know that you're actually being perceived. No, wait, you all said stuff at the bottom. Alright, never mind. It's all good. Hi. Welcome to the stream. What, a year it's been. And, you know, 2027's right around the corner, so let's get into it. Hi. Yeah, I didn't do streams for a little bit. I didn't end up doing any while I was out west, and, end of the year was real just, like, Boulder. Yeah, over in the Discord I made a very good picture. I can actually share it with you, because that's why we were a few seconds jumping in off the music. Let me see if this... Wait, I didn't set this up properly. This might be messy. Hang on. Where's the thing that lets me see two scenes at the same time? Is it that? Nope, it's not. What the hell is this? Oh, okay, never mind. We're in studio mode. There we go. So scene number 2. No, preview. If I change to that... Aha! Okay. Perfect. Because that means... Oh, what? Where is it? Monologue. There it is. It's all good. It's all good. Alright, then that means I can just hide that and that. And then I'm going to get out of studio mode because I find that tends to break things, and then just pop over here. Check it out. It's Getter Poseidon. I made that all by myself. Didn't use any plug. Didn't even use Clone Stamp because I don't know if Krita has one. I haven't looked. I made that all by myself. That was a photograph of Pose Plus Getter Poseidon. Now, if you'll notice, this is improved. Actually, I just posted the improved version. I didn't follow up because I was like, maybe people have moved on from Spim. But can I blow this up a little bit? Yeah, there we go. If you look up here on the collar, you'll see that now I've added some shading detail. Excuse me. I used the spray tool with opacity down, so the up here, right? It used to just be yellow, gray, white, gray, right? But now there's like shading and tones up there, so it's a little more realistic. Like over here, this little bit, this strip here of the highlight, I made that. This is artisan work here. Scorp, you have not seen me since last year. Hello. So I'm very proud of myself. Put it in the Louvre. Thank you. This is Getter Poseidon. I'm very proud of this. And I also do this to... Hang on a second. Oh, Rebel, hello. I don't know what you said, but other than Venom, Snake, Kermit, Optimus Prime, Woody, and Sonic, but you know what? That would be a good road trip. Artisanal memes, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to prove to the world, right, that you don't need automation. I mean, you should probably use something like a clone stamp because it's easier. But if you don't know how to do it in something like Krita, you just get in there with some opacity down airbrush brushes. We can shitpost with our bare human hands. All right, it's within our means. Seize the means of production and take back what is your right as a human. Anyway, that's Spim right there. I was talking about this maybe on stream once. It's been a conversation I had recently. It's popped up a few times where it was, I think earlier last year, there was a Magic the Gathering plagiarism that happened, but it was a guy who was tracing, right? And I remembered thinking how strange it is that, like, I got a little misty-eyed where I was like, that plagiarist did it the right way. With a pencil and a pen. That plagiarist did it that was honest plagiarism. It's weird how the Overton window fell off the building. Who's that? That's Carnage. I'll show you him. That's Carnage from Altered Carbon. A very good show. That's Carnage from Altered Carbon. He's one of my favorite characters in the mythos. I mean, you asked to take a look. Random guyism. Hello. Anyway, yeah, I'm here and I'm ready. Yeah, back in my day, we put a little elbow grease into our plaguing. That's right, Overton window mention. I know. I still remember it. I know a lot of folks are like, "What's that? That was destroyed centuries ago." But who is that from Altered Carbon? That was Carnage, played by Matt Frewer with contact lenses. Also, I have this window open because after we finish opening toys, I'm going to catch up on one thing I meant to do last year, which is I'm gonna watch the Fanstoys Ironhide instructions. That's right, it's been like 4 months, and I still haven't watched it, because I want to do it with y'all. I'm a good, honest React Andy like that. So we're, that's right. I was thinking about it. I decided Fanstoys video instructions I'm okay doing React Andy to because they're ostensibly instructions. Blades, I don't remember where the video is, and with stuff like, stuff put up by folks like Maximal Heart, is this still okay for me to, like, I feel weirder about that, because, like, they aren't a company, and, I mean, I'm also feeling like Fanstoys paid for that video, I hope, to be made, because their instruction videos are very well made. So I feel like that's more of a product than someone like Maximal Heart, or I only remember Maximal Heart now, which is really disgusting. Color Touch as well, Color Touch. React earnest when you're being earnest while reacting. That's a good call. I'm not even an Andy, really. I am much more of an earnest. Call me a P-Whirl. The iconic okay. Yeah, that's right, Sports Peppers. Oh, by the way, I found a new tick box to turn off when I started the stream. Did you know they added one that was on by automatic, right? And originally, a couple months back, they gave me a tick box to turn off, which was, do you want to have a leaderboard on your chat? And when I saw I could turn it off, I was like, I do not. It is distracting and stupid. The new tick box they added was, would you like an AI summary of the chat so far to be available to new viewers? And I was like, as much as that could be really funny, because there's no way Gemini could get that remotely correct, I don't want any of that, so I turned it off. Yeah, along with, yeah, it's irritating, and I have quite a soapbox. In fact, just about the fact we all say AI, I still think that was collectively ceded ground on the part of society that we still can take back if we just stop using it as a brand name and go back to using it as an actual thing that existed years ago. As opposed to, yeah, that's right, as opposed to filling it with balls. Also, I wanted to yammer a little bit. Let me cut to the desktop. I want to show my new hyperfixation. Still on the little guy, by the way. Sorry, I just ate some Filipino-made popcorn chicken from down the street, which is really good. But it was with gravy, which is really good. But now I got, throat butter. Anyway, I'm still on this little guy. For some reason, I have simply assimilated how to switch from this to my other keyboard to another keyboard, and they're all different. Anyway, I'm completely, I just can use this. It's really weird. I don't know. I thought that was not gonna happen. And you might be saying, what are you talking about? It's a keyboard. Notice there are no number keys. Notice there are no arrow keys. Notice there are no nothing. You have to use function to activate layers. And then you gotta go, if you want to activate layer 2, function space. That activates layer 2. I only ever really use layer 1. But for instance, if I want to do an up arrow, it's function, and then these are the arrow keys. And so if I want to do, like, numbers, it's function, the numbers at the top. If I want to do parentheses, function shift O and P are my parentheses. Somehow I'm just used to it. Got rid of all the best parts of the keyboard. That's right. I'm pulling up my bootstraps and tightening my sweater. Anyway, that's a pretty cute. Yeah, it's a clacky or a creamy. I am more of a creamer. I like my keyboards to do the creaming thing. A little bit more thock, as they put it. Let me turn it off so I don't, like, accidentally turn the stream off. But it's kind of like this. They put it up next to the microphone. Sibilance. Creaming all over the place with my fingers. Anyway, my new hyperfixation started off right. With I went to Opus Arts store out west, and then they had a Lamy fountain pen, and it was like, if you spend basically a fountain pen and a converter, we'll give you a free notebook that's worth $13. And I was like, hey, why not? Why not? Hey, look, it's Tisme Winter Toy of the Year 2026. Tri-Digger Decaler 2020. Yeah, are we... Is this just a really dire prediction for the rest of your year? Yeah, I actually left this back here because I wondered if you'd notice it. Anyway, I got fixated on... No, these are not them. This is part of the journey. So it started off with... I bought this fountain pen, right? With a converter inside. Yeah, the caption's not being on. That's really funny because I just updated OBS, and then it had a single window popped up that popped up saying, "Captions don't work anymore. Fix it." And I was like, how? And then it said, okay. So I don't know how to turn... I have to look into that after the stream because I discovered this a minute before the stream started. You know what? My bad for updating my software. Still on Windows 10 though, AO. Anyway, so a converter is, if you have a fountain pen, if you don't want to use cartridges, a converter lets you suck ink up so that you don't have to generate more plastic waste by having, little cartridges to throw away. Although I learned how you can recycle those too. So this and the little converter was enough to get a little notebook. Anyway, my mom was like, hey, I have lots of fountain pens. My mom, more so than me, it spread to me a bit, but my mom is one of those folks who has lots of stationery that's factory fresh, let's say. So we dug out, like, a ton of fountain pens dating back to the 60s, and cleaned them all, and then I pillaged a few, which is what a lot of these are. So, like, I had to buy a converter for this one, but this one... So this one, by the way, has a... They all have different ink colors in them, because that's one of the fun things about fountain pens, is you can buy inks. And I even bought an ink booster pack from a local place, where they sell this thing for $12.50. You get 5 blind packed in a paper brown bag random ink samples in 2 milliliter vials, and I was like, ooh, gambling. Except it's not, I can't resell them. It's just I get to use them. So this one I have a purple in, but this converter is a different company. It's a Standard International converter. Lamy is a very proprietary company, but this is a little another, like, these are both, kind of the pens kids would use, but they're hardy little plastic things. There's a Lamy Safari. This is a, was it a Diplomat Magnum? There was another Lamy Safari with this charcoal finish, which I really liked. And this one I got an ink color from Jacques Herbin. This ink color is a really nice brown called Lit de Thé. The pink one here has Pilot Iroshizuku's line of inks. It has Ama-Iro in it. This one is Iri Sagesse from Jacques Herbin. And then this one is from I think this is from the late 60s, early 70s. This little guy. It's a Zenator. I really like this. This thing has a piston built into it, so it just sucks ink up with a piston, like a fat version of a converter built into the pen. And I liked this because the dial to work the piston is hidden in the back. So I filled this one up with Pilot Iroshizuku. What is it called? It's the green one. Gyoku something. Anyway, you can kind of see the color here through the chamber. And then I got off of Amazon, it's a Chinese company called Asvine, who make hand-turned resin knockoffs of multi-$100 Pilot pens. So this is the Asvine V126. This is a vac filler. So this thing, the way this works, you can kind of see the piston in there. It's a huge chamber. So you pull this plunger up, stick this in the ink, push the piston back down, and it creates a vacuum as it pushes back down. And when you push it to the very bottom, the vacuum effect sucks a mouthful of ink up through the front. And the way that vac fillers work is if you have to leave the back slightly unscrewed to maintain a flow of ink from the chamber to the feed, but if you close the back and you close the front, you create a fully airtight seal around the ink chamber, which means vac fillers are fully safe to take on airplanes. Whereas these ones, you want to either empty the ink or completely fill them, because when you go on an airplane, the air bubble in there will expand and push ink up through the spout, and it can be apparently a disaster. The Asvine sucks. You got it. Listen, what... little maturity here, all right? This is settle down. Settle, a little maturity. Sorry, while I was saying all those really, really wet words. Oh, by the way, a way that fountain pen nerds describe a pen, right? If it has a really good ink flow, they say that the tip is juicy. Also, fountain pen YouTube has a lot of crossover with journaling YouTube, but fountain pen YouTube and journaling YouTube, they are sometimes the most demure, kind of often very Christian people, speaking in a very quiet, very calm voice, as I'm going to do a writing test, and they just write scripture off memory, and they talk about the tip being juicy. It's great. They say it has a functional urethra. So this is just a normal like pen I stole from home, so I'd have a pen in case I had to write something on the way. This is a pencil I bought during my art pen and drawing stuff hyperfixation while caretaking for my mom during her cancer treatments. It's a very nice pencil though, and it has refillable erasers. The eraser refills are in the back. This is a dip pen that I got for 20 bucks. It has like swappable heads, so this lets me just try inks out without having to fill a chamber. And you can buy like a feed to give this like kind of a jowl to store a juicy mouthful of ink inside. And then where is the lead refills are in here. This little case, this Lockbee case, was another thing I purchased out west because I wanted all my fountain pens together. What am I writing in though? So the notebook that I got was a little A5 notebook, and then I was like, I'm trying to hang all these things off it. So then I got this $20 trifold for it to live in. And then I added all this stuff. So here's the notebook, right? I'm not going to show you what's in it. But in here, by the way, I'm just trying everything out. So I have an upcoming video basically in here, like a talk. I wrote the talk out. It's a version of like one of my toy collector brain health panels. But I wrote the talk. So I'm going to just try to perform the talk out of the book. And you might remember once upon a time, I did I kind of did a rough version of a talk I wrote. About why I hate the term content creator, and I decided I'm going to do a one, both sides of a page, one sheet version of that to talk about out of here too. So this is an okay notebook. Like it has a little bit of bleed. I wonder if there's a page I can show you safely. I also got like a weird like leather corner cover thing because it was like $5 at Indigo, and I wanted stationery. I can't show a lot of this because it's all of my plans for Sedition and Anarchy. Guess I could try to I could show you the thing that I'm gonna perform. Just don't spoil it. But like for instance, here's the talk I want to give, right, about how to maintain a healthy hobby life in the 2020s. During which I think I have the note here. We live in the cool zone of interesting times. So I want to just see if I can, much like a panel is sort of a performance, I want to see if I can do that, but on camera, with one of these. And, it's a project, I write project at the top. But this little thing, right, came with a little, this is a, what was this? What company are you? It's a Kokuyo trifold. And it came with this little spiral bound thing, which has even nicer paper, and you can't see it, but it has like the lines end abruptly with little, like, you can kind of see it there. It's got, like, these little, like, you can use segments on it. And so this thing I've been kind of messing around with. Yeah, here, like, this is me, like messing around with the thing. This is planning out that Machine Robo Rescue video to see what it would be like to write a shot list. This is a short story I was imagining about a guy who's, like, I was thinking, like, this, and I'm sure everyone has written one of these before, but I was on the toilet, and I was like, what if a guy was a zombie, but inside his brain he was still alive, it's just his body was overtaken by the virus? So it's like, what if there was a dude who was just, like, trying to cope with the fact that he's walking around in his body as it's committing cannibalistic atrocities? And then, so this thing can, like, hook into this plastic tab here. That's called RFK Jr. Listen, everyone steals my ideas. In the back, there's another spot where I jammed a couple of these. One of these is a Tomoe River paper notebook. And there's, like, business card storage in there and whatnot. So this funny the toilet the toilet story. We've all written one. But also I stuck binder clips on here because that's what people do. And then I had a spare one of these refills. I stuck it in there. This is a Midori refill that I just wanted to stick in here to have like some extra paper sticking around. Because while I looked into all this, I was like, yo, journaling YouTube keeps talking about, you may have heard this word if you've gone near TikTok, the Hobonichi, which is a brand which I believe is owned by one of the people who worked on the game Mother 3. Anyway, there's another type that is very popular called the Traveler's Notebook, and I was like, well, that's really neat. It's like a leather sleeve, and you put little notebooks into it. And then my mom was like, hey, hang on a second. And because I forgot she bought one of these in Seattle. This is not a Traveler's Notebook. This is a Peter Popper Press Voyager Notebook, which is a B6 Slim, slightly smaller than a Traveler's Notebook. My mom bought this with refills and never used it, and said, here, I will never use this because I have a Filofax I also don't use, so take it. So I've dressed it up a little bit. These were some leftover Artist Alley stickers I had from TFCon. And then I went to an artist market store I found in the Junction, and they had this holographic sticker of a little guy going, ah! And I was like, that's me! That's perfect! So I stuck it on the back of this little notebook. And then they had phone charms with, like, you know, rocks. And one of them was a pyrite charm, and I thought it looked really neat with against the burgundy. So this thing, let me double check something here. Yes, this has like a plastic like pocket and a zipper pocket on the back. My brother had left behind all these little like standard size blank cards, so I stuck a few in here. I wrote down what this is and the size because I was like, what's the point of paper if not to write on it? And if I keep trying to remember what this is, why don't I just take a scrap of paper, write what this is on it, and put it in it? So when I'm like, oh yeah, what is this? It is one of these. And then I bought this brass paperclip for $1 at a stationery store because I thought it was pretty. Right, so I stuck one of these Hobonichi memo pad books in it because the Hobonichis are all gone. It's a whole thing. But I wanted to see what their paper was like. I was actually not really into some of this paper. The point of paper is also to fold it. But it has these little B6 Slim notebook thingies, right? And you just like rubber band them all in here together. And I was like, well, that's really neat. So I've just been writing ongoing checklists on here. I saw something on Reels where someone was like, notebook hack. Take a chunk off of a little Post-it note stack and stick it in your notebook and you have Post-it notes. And I was like, genius. It's God is Dead, Spare Me Some Change. Hobonichi. Everyone knows Hobonichi. And then I wanted to have a calendar, and I didn't want to buy a whole book for a calendar, although now I know what a Hobonichi Weeks is, and I might just do that next year if I like doing this. But at Staples, I just found like a little calendar. I will not show you my address book or my dental appointment schedule. Well, here's one where I wrote TFCon in. So it's a little calendar with really good paper. So I have a little calendar in here. I found this in an art store in the Junction, because apparently these are helpful. I've been trying to keep a journal of my Flesh and Blood gaming, so now when I play Flesh and Blood Armories, I like write down just some notes on how I did to try to improve as a gamer. And at the big stationery store out west, the Papery, I got one of these pencil boards. They do like annual designs. I don't really. I just wanted this because if you have blank paper, you can put this behind it to kind of see the lines if you want to write on straight lines on blank paper, like a cool person. So anyway, this is my new hyperfixation. I've been really enjoying it. I've been writing a little bit in the A5 every day. Just trying out what it's like to write things down, and then apparently, I don't know who shot it into my brain. This is apparently the 2026, how do you put it? The 2026, young millennial, elder zennial thing right now. I swear I only got into this because they gave me a free notebook for buying a pen, and my mom was like, oh, I had a Lamy when I was a kid, let's get one. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So, to my credit, I've only actually, like, bought 2 fountain pens, even though I'm using, like, 5. Zillennials getting stationary is the world healing. Oh! Journaling YouTube. So, fountain pen YouTube has a lot of reviews, a lot of people saying juicy, a lot of people swatching inks, right? Doing ink reviews. Journaling YouTube is fascinating. It's pretty chill. It's fascinating. Journaling TikTok is like a scarier version of book talk, but journaling YouTube is like a more long form distillation of the chill version of it. And yeah, there seems to be this resurgence of the idea of owned physical objects as a boutique interest now, which is fine. My mom was telling me how TikTokers are getting into grandparent hobbies like knitting. Yeah, there just seems to be kind of a resistance to using the... It's interesting. It's a resistance to using, I'm assuming, the technology that was there to greet some of these folks into sapience, who spent formative years witnessing what is referred to as the enshittification of a whole lot of it. I don't know. It's interesting. I just think it's fun to have pens with ink colors in them and write and stuff. Is there a birding TikTok? I am almost certain there is. I actually don't really like scrolling TikTok. I find that the interface feels like a worse version of other interfaces. That might just be me. So I don't really know a ton about TikTok fandoms. I just hear about them. I also hear a lot about rocks. It's a rock. We back on the slow walk to typewriters. I mean... There have been Kickstarter typewriters in the 2010s, I believe, even. Lee, you're making ribs. Hell yeah. When I was out west, a friend of mine's partner, I went to visit a friend of mine, and then their partner was like, "Hey, you should stick around. I'll work you into the dinner plan," and like made ribs, and it was really nice, and I felt really guilty, but I also ate them. There's a page called Bird of the Week. I recommend it. Ooh. But, yeah. This is Nucleous, who I realized at one point I just never picked up because I only ever saw him at Toys R Us where he was $45. So, I put him on my Amazon wishlist, and then my brother got him for me, and so, hey, that's sometimes how it goes. Christmas rocks! Anyway. Oh, Lee, yeah, this was oven ribs. This was like, you know, they came out browned, not like reddened or whatever. Anyway, it was like, I'm not going to say dry ribs because they were juicy, but they weren't like basted, you know, sticky ribs. That's a rock, not a nucleus. Damn it, you got me. Also, just like really good vegetables. It was like a oven roasted, like just slice of a pepper. It's really nice. Anyway, the reason why I didn't want to let this guy pass me by when, you know, it came about that I was like, you know, Legacy United is over. I might have just missed the boat. Do I care? I kind of sat there and I was like, no, I do, because I actually really like this mold. And I have like 3 versions of the Junkion truck that I don't like, so why would I not want to, you know, keep in mind that I wouldn't mind going complete on the truck Izer that I do like. It was a realization I had with the... I'm not going to call the discourse. With fans of the hobby having a new item come out. Called Age of the Prime's animated Wreck-Gar, who is a Trash Master redeco, right, with a new head. Redeco using the same color palette, which is very funny. And a lot of folks are like, oh, you know, there's a lot of reasons why this isn't working for me. And for me, the reason it wasn't working for me is because it was Trash Master, who I don't really like. And I think that I found one of my outlier crank perspectives, because, you know, it's really easy to, you know, shove me into a locker and grab me by the neck and lift me up slightly and bite my ear and you know, growl a little and then go like, you're too positive. And, hey, you know what? I do try to kind of live a life living more so in positivity because I find it a little bit more functional for my own purposes. However, if I were ever, I wouldn't call it even a hater arc. I just don't like the Legacy Junkions very much. I like the motorcycle. It turns out Junkions are just better as motorcycles. But no, I just don't like the truck. I don't really like Lockdown. I don't really like Axle Grease. Is that her name? The purple one. I found Trashmaster was neat when I opened him, and then in less than 24 hours, I was like, I don't like Trashmaster. I think he turned out bad. Yeah, I'm not a negativity liver. It just ain't me. I just find it leaves too much poison in the brain after, you know, I'm done posting or wherever it is I would be doing it. But yeah, you know, I just don't really like the Legacy Junkions. That's right, negativity liver. You don't want one of those. You think your liver is suffering from all that whiskey you've been drinking. Negativity liver can't handle, you know, vitamins. Put your legs back on. We're on public stream. Holy crap. Yeah, a lot of people really like the new Junkions more than I do. And I came to realize that over, you know, the last year or so. I was like, I think this is just where I'm, like, one of the folks who doesn't like them. And I was thinking about it because, like, I was recently talking to, you know, some friends, perhaps witnessing someone's, you know, a friend group's personal award show. And I realized that, like, and it's not just, you know, one group. As I noticed, again, over the course of a year, now, Prima is sort of like, some folks like him, some folks don't, and I really liked him, but I know a lot of people who didn't really like him. Solus Prime. I know very few people who even had an enjoyable time with Solus Prime who did like the toy conceptually. My Solus Prime, I just went to check her recently. So not only do I like Deluxe Solus Prime, but mine has gained build quality since the unboxing stream. I believe, I'm not going to go check because it's too much work, but there's a VOD of me opening that toy, and a couple parts fell off, right? I went and pulled her out of the bag she's been living in, and nothing like, I think one of those little rotating shoulder plates fell off because I practically fulcrumed it off by applying force in the wrong direction. So yeah, she forged herself. I have run this by random folks here and there quietly. It is a common thing for her mushroom peg swivelable feet to just fall off for a lot of people. I can't get them to come off, and I don't want to try very hard, but like I was like sitting there doing... Didn't come off. So... I just got a good one. But it's something I was thinking about how, like, I have to remember this for when I write her script, because I want to do Solus and Prima pretty soon as review scripts. And I'm like, for Prima, I don't really have to acknowledge much other than, like, you know, I like space trucks. So I'm set for the Primes, right? But with Solus, I really need to mention the sheer number of people I know who have been like, so, what'd it feel like for yours to fall apart in your hands? And I'm like, my hands fell apart around it. She was so solidly built. Yeah, Rider Blues, that was one of my big things that made me just not really like Trashmaster that much, is Trashmaster feels like a Voyager toy that doesn't want to be an Izer, and so his legs can kind of come off, and that's it, and he does not have enough pegs, does not have enough ports. The idea that he was going to foment into the Junkosaurus all by himself left me extremely disappointed. You can make a cool Junkosaurus, people have done it, but it felt like there could have been something more focused on the Izerness rather than the, like, look, it's me, Trashmaster. I am destined to... Yeah, Solus Prime was juicy. Thank you, Adam Bilmu. The hand feel on this little guy feels, like, considering that those came off while I was pulling him out of the package, he actually feels pretty nice. Every time I saw this guy at the now shuttered Dufferin Mall Toys R Us, I always really liked the silver paint on him, and I also really like his head design. It's just kind of wacky. Yeah, we got the Solus Prime enjoyers in the room now, but, like, we are very few. We are very few. And, you know, obviously, with the Primes, they also turn into space trucks, and, you know, in my experience, space trucks just don't really vibe with some folks, and that's fine. But yeah, my Solus Prime just ended up being a good one. It's like, what's his name? He's always around here somewhere. Ape Face! Was it Siege or Earthrise Ape? The one that nobody liked, and then mine was good. That was another time that happened. Does anyone else generally think changing QC matches because of humidity changing? So I think humidity can play a factor in it, but there's also the other things to consider, like mold release, film, and residue disappearing over time. Whether the plastic of yours uniformly expanded or shrank the same way it did perhaps for someone else's. I like that we have ER, Siege, Earthrise. The reason I'm asking is because Apeface and Snapdragon, I'm very good at mixing them up when I'm not looking at them, because one obviously is an ape and one is a dragon, but then remembering which one was the one nobody liked, I have a lot more trouble remembering. I hate the inconsistencies of the physical world. Yeah, you know, I feel it. You know what's messed up? We're like 90% water. That's screwed up. Humans are not easy to stack. We rely on like frictional coating on our water to stack together. Our water can't stack naturally. Messed up. Well, when I say no one liked, I'm also talking about like when the toy was on the market. I'm assuming it, you know, as with a lot of Trilogy toys, they suddenly all cost $100 or something. This dude has, I don't recall, maybe I'm misremembering. These feel very new. These look baller. Yeah, there's also a wet, warm skeleton inside you, which is like super messed up. Needle nose moment. Snapdragon versus Apeface was... Yeah, Apeface is the one. That's it. Yeah, the white plastic on Apeface was the issue. It was a weird milky white plastic, and it was relied upon for some tolerance play that the first run of Apeface is like... Some of them could do it, but a majority of them just had trouble holding together, like with tabs and frictions and whatnot. Anyway, I got one months later when it finally showed up in Canada, and it worked beautifully right out of the box, and I was like... I guess we just got better ones. You know, not getting into it. Nowadays, I feel more guilty going like, guess Canada got a better one than the States, because, you know, we live in the cool zone of interesting times. Have a safe drive, Sideswipe Prem. Yeah, the clear peg on the removable wing, I think I shaved its width down slightly or something. I did something to alter that friction. I forgot what. Whoa, 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 whoa. That dude's leg came off and just wedged right between my thighs and then slipped through. What's that trying to tell me? I remember how this toy works. There's always a point in my nearest big toy shop where you can see what Transformers are left and didn't sell, and Apeface was definitely one of them. Yeah, Apeface had a really... I remember Apeface having a terribly bad rep. Sorry, not rap. That's an all-intensive purposes kind of thing. But back when it was a new toy, everybody hated Apeface. If you're in the market, check for Amalgamus. Oh, yeah, I heard... Sorry, they're EB Games now. I heard EB Games got all the new stuff in. I went by the one in Dufferin the other day, and all they had was Wreck-Gar and Razor Claw. And I was like, are Wreck-Gar and Razor Claw going to be like the new toys are here, but someone took them from me? Like, do I have one of those waves where there's like a couple of figures that really pointedly are probably going to be the evidence that you missed the ones you wanted? Primal Prima, hello. Apeface's raps ain't getting him off of Char. Yeah, I liked Apeface when he came out, because, again, mine worked. There's obviously going to be subjective taste at work as to whether, regardless of it working, you actually like the toy, right? Or the design. But in my case, it was just a guy who did stuff I enjoyed. I basically enjoy all triple changers. I think I said that once before. I forgot how this works. They have yet to make a modern triple changer that I don't personally enjoy, and people have said, but what about? And I've been like, no, I'm thinking of that one. Yeah, I fully forgot how the order of operations works on the torso, so we're just going to make it work. We're going to use our heart and our courage. It's an Iser, you're allowed to do that. we might have, you know, if there's one or two folks who are not, like, deep in on the toys thing, just because I ripped the arm off the action figure doesn't mean I'm doing it wrong. It means that I'm, like, you know, I'm trying my best. I'm just going to take a look at these funny pieces of paper they gave me with the toy. Oh, right. How is Nucleous? Feeling pretty good. His leg keeps coming off, but it might have just been me pulling on it. It's simply engaged with the intended play pattern. How are they going to do Predacon Razor Claw? Oh, I was going to say, it's a universe. It's Transformers universe. They didn't call him that, did they? Cowards. But it's universe Razor Claw is what I'm talking about. The Decepticon-coded Tiger Hawk. Oh yeah, it's just the calves. I call them his legs because I'm like, you know, something. They all look the same to me. I can't hang out with Quentin Tarantino because I just show him pictures of drumsticks, and I'm like, ah? What do you think, boss? Yeah, if we lived in a real society, we would have had Transformers Universe. Transformers Universe. No, Transformers Universe, Age of the Primes, Leader Class, Decepticon, Predacon, Razor Claw. It looked nice. I don't want to fully disparage. It looked nice when I saw it. Just that Canadian Leader Class price MSRP number hits real hard, yo. Gorilla. Guy who got confused keeps sending Quentin Tarantino Lego set leaks. You know, one of these days he'll thank me. That's another one where, like, I don't fall in with the filmic crowd very well. And this is before any kind of inciting incident happened. It was in the year 2007, I think it was. No. It started in 2007, and it culminated in 2011. It was this kind of weird long flow process where I realized I don't really think highly of Quentin Tarantino anymore, as opposed to when I was a kid. You know, or a teenager or whatever, watching his stuff, going like, oh, this guy, he really, woo. And I fell off the Tarantino train. Nowadays, like, if I look at, you know, if I look at a Tarantino thing, I can recognize a lot of the craft, but it was, it's usually the earlier ones. There we go. Look at this Flintstones ass, Jetsons ass thing. It was the year 2007. I love these shapes. And I don't know, I just really like a rock car. I think it's very funny. I think it's, you know, it's beautiful that we have this storyline concept that will never get touched on for probably another decade, if ever. The Infernac universe. The Lego Unis. Oh, I think, yeah, I was like, someone asked me about Bruticus. There it is. You getting Bruticus? I have Vortex, so it's like I have Bruticus. Yeah, this dude just looks like a rock spaceman. Like there's the best way I can put it is he is juicy with character. For someone who literally is, you know, a toy and nothing else. A series of concepts and bullet points hammered together into a retool and redeco of an existing other toy. But yeah, I have Vortex. I know Brawl and Blastoff are floating around out there. In general, I'm just not in a rush. Like I still have just only the two Studio Series 86 Constructicons, because I can't afford to keep up with Transformers due to other hobbies and hyperfixations. I'm kind of just letting myself free flow and not owe allegiance to anything, while also being generally, how do you put it, not very money laden. The last year, the Diaclone spending was what do you call it? That was like the peak ability of my ability to buy nice things, and then I kind of just stopped halfway through the year, and just at that point it's just like we buy for dopamine. But I'm relying a lot on people regret dumping toys at toy shows, because I see it happening all the time. Because there's a lot of not to go to a presentation I have yet to give, but there is or a presentation I may have already given. There's a lot of carryover of 2010s era completionist mentality, even when, say, one's personal enjoyments, one's personal economies don't necessarily jive with it anymore. And so that means there's people like me, they're ready to catch all of the stuff falling off the side of the ship, as you know, it happens or not. Oh, Quacky, I want everyone to come out to TFCon Toronto, because that means I don't have to buy a plane ticket. Actually, no, I can't buy a plane ticket. I'm not entering the United States this year. So you have to come to Toronto. That way I'm not lonely. Not to try to guilt trip you into purchasing an airline ticket and a hotel room. You know, obviously, like, operate within your means. But yeah, I'm digging Nucleous. I'm gonna see if I can turn Nucleous back. My favorite store is Regret Toys in Toronto, Ontario. Hell yeah. We got anyone else there who likes to live in other people's regrets? What a weird thing to say. What a weird thing for you to say. Wow. See, I did it again. I was like, oh, let me just unflip the back of the car. Let me just rip his leg panels off. I keep forgetting those are the parts that come off. Yeah, Quacky, we live in the galaxy brain life. I don't want to enter the States. There's another show, though. Me just go, like, I already live here, and I'm like, I could go to Toronto. Oh, hell yeah, Q Crew! Annual meetup with the fan cam is coming! It's almost here. Q is another toy that I'm like... I'm happy I've seen more people, I think, comment that, like, you know, aside from nobody liking Q's design, because y'all are mean, the actual Studio Series toy is, like, pretty alright. But also, it turns out, it's the only toy that is not selling at EB Games. I could have got one for 20 bucks if I'd waited a few months. Pick up the convention and move it somewhere else. Look, they don't... Staples charges a lot for those everything boxes, and, like, you know, among my many hyperfixations includes 1 to 3 TCGs, so, you know. That's right, that's right! Happy to welcome Lai Diaclona to the Q Crew! Clip that. He's sitting next to the jalopies at my turn. Oh man, like jalopy, toy I don't want to buy because I don't like the mold. But I want a toy called Jalopy to, you know, have a good life. I don't, you know, wish ill. All right, so oh, okay, I was wondering about this. These straight up the Rocket Club. I was wondering why there was only one peg on here. Yabba dabba do ass kind of thing going on. Can I join the Q Crew? Anyone can join the Q Crew. I mean, so far, me saying that hasn't resulted in some kind of terrible incident, but to my knowledge, the Q Crew is wide open. We love everyone. The Q Crew, the fan cam is coming soon, you know? I had completely missed or forgotten that Nucleus takes his 2 rocket boosters and just makes a rocket club That kind of rules. Correct way to hold a rocket. Yeah, it could be mutton, it could be a drumstick. I mean, if it's a rock lord, he could be, you know, munching on this thing like om nom, ooh, I'm full of myself. Literally, self-cannibalism, something, something. These parts come off, right? Yeah. Well, you know, it's the queues are sticking around, but if you see something like 8 queues, it's also because, you know, the queue crew, we believe in love, and if there's one thing Q loves to do, it's self-love. And if there's one thing Q is also capable of doing, it is self-propagation through self-love. And so what you're seeing is the result of an unchecked Q population, because people are being mean and not purchasing their queues to properly join the Q crew, and thus we have infestation, and it's... what are we going to do? Will you review more G1 toys? Yes, I when I shot that, and I shot them in like last summer, when I shot that Scoop review, I also shot Quick Mix, and I've now done the rough cut of the visuals. I have to write the script still. I just wanted to wait a little bit and stuff something in between before I finish that one. When I head back out west again for the next toy show in the spring, I am likely going to be filming at least 2 more G1 toys, and maybe a few more Machine Robo Rescue toys, because holy moly, that video got attention, and I don't know why. But yeah, I'm not averse to reviewing, how do I put this? Toys that were retro in the 2000s, because now I can also review toys that are retro because they're from the 2000s, because the 2000s were 26 years ago as well. It's when they started, right? No landfill love. Well, you know, I didn't have landfill growing up. You know, I didn't have one growing up. I only had the 2. Did I miss your? Oh, hang on, I'll get to that one. Now maybe I traded a bunch of toys into Cherry Bomb Toys, who had maybe sort of minty-ish complete landfill with the card, no bubble. So maybe I'm in a position to film a landfill when I go back out west and bring my camera with me, because maybe I experimented with filming landfill on my phone and found it too annoying, and the footage looked too much different from the other 2, and I wanted it to look more like my DSLR. Anyway, what was your question? On a serious question, if I'm itching to... I don't answer honest answers. If I'm itching to go to TFCon Toronto, how soon should I have everything settled? You should... I mean, if the hotel block is up, I would secure the hotel room as soon as possible, or whatever version of that you want to do. You have until, I believe it's like 24 hours before check-in to cancel the room, and that's usually the first thing that goes. The event tickets, I don't think Toronto has had a sellout. Like, they sell out of, like, the 3-day passes, but I don't think that they're, like, you're in danger of, like, getting to the event and then being told to leave because you don't have a ticket or something like that. But no, the hotel room is the important thing. That's the thing to settle ASAP. Obviously, you'd probably want to sort your travel out sooner than later, because it tends to get more expensive the closer you are to actually traveling, but you should also try to catch a sale if you can. Oh yeah, we're talking about G1 Landfill, the double target master, who has a really neat arm trick. Very neat arm trick. No, we're not going to tell Americans to leave. We citizens in Canada, for the most part, have enough self-awareness to at least know that Americans who want to come over here and maybe even stick around, we would love for them to. I'm doing my part to educate more Canadians onto the part of like, you know, how could they, et cetera, and then go like, well, let me show you what someone showed me. This is called the Electoral College. This is one of the main branches of rot that makes the system not work. And then, you know, it helps fill in the gaps. It's something that sometimes I need to be reminded about, that and, you know, gerrymandering and stuff, and it makes everything make a bit more sense, voter suppression, etc. I bet you're wondering where the fire is and not just me talking geopolitics. The fire is a gift that my mom got me while I was out west, because we found a place called Ages 3 and Up that had one, so now I finally get to see what the hell everyone was talking about when they're like, oh, Chris Vangelus, you would love how this toy works. And I was like, okay, I won't look at how it works. and I still haven't, and I never saw one, except the one time where I was like, oh, I don't need it though, I have a reservation already with Electronic Boutique Games, and then they lost it because the store I was going to pick it up at closed and moved across the street, and my reservation was one of many that were lost in the shuffle, and I also then literally never saw one again! So they had them at A3U from a new shipment, so there you go. We went to visit the A3U warehouse, which is always a fun trip. It's always a fun store. I got to see Missing Link RCs in person. Kind of confirmed to me that, like, me and Missing Link is kind of like, I think a lot of them look cool. I would love to own a bunch of them. They're also the first thing that I feel like trimming when I can't afford everything I want. It's kind of just been the pattern for me, is I handle or see someone else's Missing Link toy, and I go like, I really like that, but I want something else more. And so one of these days, we're gonna... One of these days, just stop, don't struggle. Yeah, just one of these days. One of these days, we're gonna... One of these days, we're gonna... Yeah, one of these days. One of these days, we're gonna... One of these days. I maintained eye contact as much as possible through all that, because I was kind of like, do butchers ever do, like, when a butcher is, like, preparing all the meat, do they sometimes just, like, lock eyes with a customer going, like, I love my job! You know, ripping gizzard. I love my job! I get a migraine every time Amazon Yeah, Amazon, when I wishlist Amazon stuff, I often will explain when asked, you know, whether it's turned into a null item or whether it is a $500 deluxe. I'll be like, well, you see, when I wishlisted it, it was MSRP, or maybe even 10% off. So bear in mind, my wish list will contain things that may fluctuate from being 25% off to being 800% marked up, because Amazon loves fronting third-party seller listings through hell and high water. Jeff Bezos says, by God, this is a marketplace. Mischievous Turtle, yes, because it happened to me. That butcher shop isn't there anymore. Yeah, he finished with the meat. Cyber Titan 129, this must be your first box shredding stream. That is how collectors open their toys. It's a practice we've honed. You should check out some of the other streams. Adamus Prime, hello. These ribs turned out great. Hell yeah. We love it when cooking goes right. Not first, just shocking. You know, what I like to do is simply remove the temptation to save the box where possible. Didn't 3 Toys R Us... like, Dufferin closed down. That's the only one I ever went to. I heard another one closed down with a sign on the door saying there are, like $16,000 owed unpaid rent or something. The Sunrise Records guy is... I think maybe finally, the Sunrise Records guy may fall. V-Rider, hello. The first shredding was actually this little dude. This was a gift I got off my wish list from my brother for Christmas. So it's Nucleous. And also, I spent a good chunk, like, discussing my new hyperfixation, which is fountain pens and journaling. Rest in peace, Vic Park and Lawrence Toys R Us. Yeah, was the Lawrence Vic Park one the one that got the eviction notice, or... I just remember the big thing was the eviction notice going like, oh, by the way, because apparently it was spotted at more than one that, like, some Toys R Us's closed in part due to unpaid rent, and it's like, well, maybe don't reopen HMV as a... Also, you know, all due respect to Toys R Us's and whatnot, when Dufferin had the big closing sale, I went in to look at what was on sale. There wasn't really much on sale. You know, it once again just kind of felt like Toys R Us going like, all right, you twisted my arm. We are putting things on sale down to $5 over MSRP. And it's like, did you buy your stock secondhand or what's going on, pal? Wait, that toy guy here? Aren't you Canadian? Chase, thank you. I got a haircut last month. It's already wearing off. I need to remember to get it sooner. Is that one? That toy guy. Over there. Alright, why is this guy's boobs flying around? Everyone told me this is going to be a good toy. I'm assuming this is where all the fire is. It's not polite to point. Listen! Someone asked. I found the fire. Here we go. This actually looks really... This has like a paint app on it, I think. Or no, is it just... Did they do like a gradient molding? Or did they airbrush a little something? I don't know. It looks nicer than I thought it was going to look. I didn't have any opinions on the fire originally because it's inside the tissue paper, so I never saw the fire! I've simply let the accessory poncho move on to Valhalla immediately. It did its work, it gets its reward, and I finally find out, because I was wondering about this, whether I just didn't have one of these on mine, or if it was in the box somewhere. There's his little square. All is right with the world. Is it a good thing that Dufferin RS closed down? I mean, debate. Yeah, I mean, Dufferin Toys R Us, objectively, I guess, right? It's bad that folks lost jobs. And to my knowledge, Dufferin Toys R Us was not a terrible place to work. As far as, like, the wider big picture, I think every time Sunrise Records guy loses a business, he comes closer to rejoining society as a contributing member, as opposed to whatever the hell he's doing. Whoa. Hey, that's kind of cool. This, by the way, is my favorite kind of box shredding, where I'm opening up a figure that's brand new to me that some of you have probably had for over 8 to 12 months. So you get to relive that moment. Megatronus almost invisible on your table. He's just really, really stealthy, okay? He's incredibly stealthy. But yeah, Dufferin Toys R Us has been alive, but for collectors, basically a disaster. A place you go to have a laugh for a long time. Toys R Us used to have constant sales and was actually one of the best places to go in Canada. That era was the year 2010. That was actually like 15 years ago, during like Titan's Return was like one of the last times that they really had constant sales. Let's lean it up a little bit. This guy's feeling pretty cool. Like I'm sure this is a controversial take, but I think this might be a pretty good toy. Look at that. He's got that chest thrust that, like, take me! Take it easy, Boulder. Our Toys R Us went out of business when Pacific Rim 2 had toys. By the way, if anyone wants Pacific Rim robot Damashis, I have an unopened Saber Athena that I found in a bin here that I'm trying to sell. I gotta do a sales post. This is the thing that my version of my very selfish, extremely self-centered version of boy, we live in hard times now is I got stuff put together and I took the photos for a sales post, like a quickie sales post to do. I haven't done it yet because I keep forgetting until like 3 in the morning and I'm like, this seems like a bad time. But I'm also like trying to figure out how to word my sales post because, and I've seen this with another friend who had a sales post go up, my sales post is for the most part going to be, please try to buy this if you can meet me in downtown Toronto. Because shipping a physical item in Canada will be probably $20. And now, with, you know, the way that a lot of social media fandoms tend to have lots of folks from the United States in them, right? Now, if I put up a sales post, being a Canadian, I have to add the wording of, like, hey, so, I'm willing to ship to the United States. I'm even willing to lie on the customs form. However, I can't guarantee that shipping will be affordable, nor can I guarantee whether you will get it, nor can I guarantee whether you will be hit with whatever your version of customs fees ended up being. I still haven't fully gotten that straight. Yeah, where I'm putting sales posts. I'm going to put it up on... So I was just going to put my photos on Blue Sky and just go like, I'm trying to sell things really quickly to make some extra cash. Buy, please. But my friend Sylvia put up a Google Doc, like, spreadsheet for sales, and I was like, this makes a lot more sense than me trying to type it all into a social media post, so I might do that instead. Yeah, tariffs being, like, the obvious big thing, but I also, like, I'm unclear as to whether your guys' like, postal service also has just been losing packages more, or if I misunderstood something. JTL, I misread part of that slightly, and I thought you were like, oh yeah, the average customs charge on a Canadian package now is, you know, a 10 million% taxation. I'm like, oh, simply that? Nothing. Paltry. Child's play. This does look cool. I'm noticing that the other two flames... Like, they have a peg, but they have a port on the back that feels more natural. I'm noticing... Where do I put them? Oh, they're supposed to go back here. I see. It's nice they put a port on them, I guess. Yeah, that's not... Like, it's cool looking, but yeah, I'm like, I want ones down here. Oh, you can put them on the staff, too. Okay. Yeah, he's got all this stuff. I saw the comment earlier, but yeah, I'm seeing it. Like, the bummer is like there's just not even any pegs or ports down here, and I'm like, dang, like, you know, I'm sure it's for transformation reasons, but do you use Twitter? Oh no, I abandoned Twitter in 2024. I'm only on Blue Sky, Instagram, Mastodon, and Tumblr now. Primarily Blue Sky, but I cross-post to the other one. I've been cross-posting to Instagram less, because I find it irritating. But the other ones are just easy for me to cross-post to. But no, I bailed on Twitter. It's been a while now. Put the forearm flames on the... You can put the forearm flames on the forearms. Excellent. I saw your message. I already read it. I already read it out loud. How's your Glios collection going? Unfortunately, due to the early 2020s collapse of the USPS internationally, etc., mailing of objects, Glios is generally 45 USD to ship to Canada flat right now for poor old Matt, so I haven't been able to buy Glios for a long time. I just spectate it. I really like whenever I check in on it, I'm like, no, it looks baller. Everything they're doing is great. I'm simply not in a position where I can drop 45 USD shipping on like anything if it isn't life-threatening. Or just gigantic. It's never a bad thing to have joined a community. I just would say that, like, the sooner you can maneuver that community elsewhere, the easier a time you're probably gonna... Or, not easier, the less stressful a time you're likely to have. Because, like, when I do check in on, like, Twitter, the website, to, like, you know, see how it's looking or look up my gossip or whatever, it seems progressively worse every single time. This is a little gun, isn't it? Megatronus, maybe? What if he held a little shoulder flame like a princess fan? Doable. There's no wrist joint. This requires some photography, but yeah, there you go. He's got some ojo. He's got some foo, some oh ho ho ho. You can swap the left and right shoulder flames. There are peg holes in the back of the shoulders. Ah. So there are. Well, then the flames go in the... I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading this. Let me... Because if I do that, then the flame is, like, pointing the wrong way. Also, can I, like... Guns, hot stuff! Instead of cooling... In warm weather, and he can generate flames erupting out of his entire body, he's like, oh, this is really clever. This solution I have. Damn, I'm smart. Oh, use the same peg on the outside of the shoulder, but swap them. Oh, to put it on, like, the back of the back. Oh, I'm assuming it's this way. Who is talking about me and... Is that Diaclona from youtube.com/Diaclona? It's... No, we're just, me and Quacker were just talking about how we're really happy that you finally came around to join the Q crew. Like, we're glad to welcome you to the family, and, you know, we're looking forward to, like, you know, come TFCon Toronto, we can welcome you to the family. We can, you know, we can do the fan cam finally in person. Oh, that does kind of look. This does look a little bit more. How do you put it? Artiste in a way. It looks like it's coming from behind him. Somehow, very effectively. I'm just asking questions. Yeah, the Q crew, the community. Fan cam is coming any day now. It's going to be great. I'm so happy that more fans are getting to enjoy everyone's like kind of the best Transformer that holds the community together. Studio Series Dark of the Moon Q. Yeah, the gradient on the flame pieces is doing a whole lot with the light. I'm curious if it's probably just molded that way. Like, I can't imagine they're, like, airbrushing red on top. Are you gonna get the rest of the primes? Ideally, I would like to. That's kind of the thing I've been enjoying from this line has been the primes kind of just quietly being a group of new Transformers toys. Whoa. So, like, Star Convoy is going to be the difficult one because Titans cost too much money up here, but Star Convoy aside, I'm hoping, again, that I can just eventually secure someone's Regret Star Convoy. Did I have this? Did I have this all along? Was my hubris also my downfall? Q fan cam tomorrow! GTA 6 tomorrow! Be hyped! Oh, this is soft plastic. That's why the hole was so tight. I understand now. Have I made the Fallen and Nucleus died? I was so enamored with Nucleus's rocket club that I neglected to. Thank you for catching me on that when Long was here. The Kevin? I don't feel guilty for asking. The guilt should always come from the consequences, not the actual... Actually, wait, no. There's a lot of scenarios where that does not play out. But, regardless, no, don't worry about it. Verspringen. It's Verspringen, actually. It's, how that's pronounced. Oh, is that what you were asking? Yeah, if you're going to TFCon Toronto, the thing to move on ASAP is securing your hotel room. Everything else can fall into place, but the hotel block is always the first thing to go. And you can book whenever, like, and then you have until 24 hours before check-in to cancel your room. So yeah, as we all know, the rock truck can rock it. And a Megatronus, I'm not sure, because Megatronus is like kind of a freak. You do not pay in advance on the hotel room. You don't even have to use the same credit card that you check in with. They just want a number that they can charge to when you check in. But no, the hotel is not pay up front. That's still generally a hotel's thing. I don't know of hotels that ask you to pay up front on reservations. So you can, this is a weird way to put it, I guess. You can do a safety pre-order on your hotel room. Oh, this guy can totally do it. Look at that. Put the little barrel on the side of the tank backpack. Oh, like a little smokestack? Like a little beep beep smokestack? Yeah, don't worry. I'm always going to be one who will say, like, you know, it's just words, but, like, you know, don't. I'm still working on it, but it is worthwhile to train oneself out of defaulting to self-hate in words, because that stuff leaves little drips and drabs of brain poison behind. It leaves little bits of toxic waste behind that can add up. It seems like nothing, or it might seem like nothing, but it is important. I have to transform Tri-Digger. Oh, Jesus. Verspringen, you're making me play with the Tisme's 2025 winner Diaclone reboot Tri-Digger Decaliber. Forcing me to. On mine, that's always tight, that one over there. Micron Online, at this point, I believe it is just me who is the steward of the death. I kind of noticed, I was like, I'm the only... It's just me. It's just me and my adjacent environment. It really, like, soon it's gonna be Long was here who is keeping it alive. And of course, like, you know, YouTube pillars, like youtube.com/ at Diaclona. Great channel. Hope to meet that creator someday. Bring up the slide from the Eternity. Oh, okay. You want to see? Hang on. Oh wait, no. Okay, you don't. I thought you meant this. I think you mean something else. I thought you meant this, and I was like, I guess if you all want to look at Pose plus Getter Poseidon again. Yes, always have that there. I don't have the slide handy. Did you oh, wait, there's been posts. Did you... I don't see a slide. Oh, that slide. Hang on. I thought you meant a different slide. Wait, that's the wrong window. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I thought you meant something else. Hang on, let me rearrange my windows again so I can see you all. There you are. The only reason I watched the collab was because of Auto Trooper, actually. Hey, listen, Auto Trooper, it's good stuff. Not my fave, but it's good stuff. I will be the Jeff Keighley of Toy Collab. I mean, if... I don't think anyone's going to fight you for the Jeff Keighley of... I know what you mean. Can this be the new Freaky Tetsuo guy? No! That's Carnage from Altered Carbon! Look! It's Carnage! It's Carnage! Matt Frewer with contact lenses. Look up Jeff Keighley and put the first image on the screen. What? Did we finally radicalize Jeff Keighley? I'm still holding out for that. Did we get the same image results? Or do you mean... Hang on, do you mean this one? 'Cause this one's good. Why isn't this working? Nanda yo. Hang on. What am I looking at? That's all I got. Do I have to turn safe search on or off? Anyway, I believe that I still maintain that's my betting pool every video games Jeff Keighley show is are we going to see the radicalization of Jeff Keighley? It's going to happen live. I maintain that. Because Jeff Keighley listens to anything Hideo Kojima tells him, right? Hideo Kojima is constantly in the company of strange, charismatic men from Hollywood. Therefore, one day, Hideo Kojima will be in the company of a strange, charismatic man from Hollywood who will say, unions rule. And then Hideo Kojima will be like, Jeff Keighley, have you heard of unions? They rule. And Jeff Keighley will be like, go on stage, and he'll be like, you know, and the award for this goes to this company, and he'll just start listing their crimes. It's coming. Anyway, there you go, by request. You think Jeff salutes Kojima when they meet back? I think he hugs Kojima when they meet backstage. Saluting is for acquaintances. By the way, what I just noticed on the preview window on OBS, this dude looks baller in this, like, I'm just walking forward and I'm on fire kind of pose. Yeah, we need to get like, what is it? We're at Mads Mikkelsen. We're at Jimmy Walking Dead. We're at Guillermo del Toro. I'm always on fire and walking. That's my secret, Tony. Jordan Peele is working with Kojima on something. See, Norman Reedus, thank you. George Miller needs a nephew who says, Uncle George, stop talking about that. I feel like George Miller is constantly in a position to be led into like, well, this bloke said that this can make music using computers, and then it's or you know, like this bloke here told me we can deep fake Anya Taylor-Joy's eyes onto this here kid, and it's like Uncle George, stop, just make movies. Uncle George, they're Uncle George is not worth it. Uncle George, that stuff sucks. Just make movies better. Just what accent is that? That is a well, that's my Texan accent. Now, George Miller isn't like saying anything horrifying. It's just George Miller's always like getting in proximity of like, you know, weird, you know, generative adjacent stuff or whatever, and the vibe I always get off George Miller is he's fine. He's just kind of dopey. And George Miller needs a friend in his life who goes like, George, stop doing that. It's not good. George, it's not good for you. Nor George. What was it? I think Chris Carnage told me like whenever I try to do Australian, I have definite what's an Australian chav called again? They're called like a blingus or something. Or like a fart. A bogan. Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad you all knew what I was trying to say there. Well, a chav is kind of like a British bogan. You know about is Normus Reedus's Sonus the Mingus? I am Normus Reedus. Normus Reedus, transform. How is this thing on two different hinges in two different directions? So I like the fallen like train mode. I didn't know about Lucian. That rules. Mingus Lucian Reedus, ruler of the oasis of syrup. It's like if you just have a guy who's called, like, my name is Jimmy Barbados, and I'm very tall. Does he have soft detent shoulders? Like, barely. I think I heard about this. It feels like there's, like, the remnants of something in there that was undesigned. I'm something of a nimble Reedus myself. Ooh. Sorry, I'm seeing, like, bits of tread, and I'm getting excited. And who wouldn't get excited at the sight of some bits of... the holy... There's a whole lot happening at the same time. I saw something about mecha invasion. Oh, when they're... I was going to say, when... I thought you meant, when, like, what are they doing next? And I was like, well, let me tell you, I got a scoop. After Volcanicus, I'm not sure. I think something that would suit their vibe would probably just be doing a Computron adjacent. Because it's just, like, cool shapes. That was a really cool inverted whatever the hell just happened there, by the way. Some of the old inverted whatever the hell just took place. By the way, I have some insider information to share. I was informed that at some point my mom might be peeking in on the stream now and then as a viewer. So don't screw this up for me. Don't embarrass me. I have no, she probably, like, she doesn't chat, so you won't know if she's here, but but don't you goddamn embarrass me. Vangelus called us names. I didn't call anyone names that they didn't. It was in self-defense. This is a stand your ground province. I guess I could have looked at a picture of what this is supposed to look like in the end, but, you know, we all do our best. Chav discourse updated. Huh? Oh, Bogans are not youths. Ishays are more applicable to Chavs. Okay, Bogans are distinctly middle-aged. Damn, okay. That's egg on my face. I thought Bogans and Chavs were very interchangeable terms. I'm not Kevin. I'm Chris's mom. That's right, that's my mom. Peter Johnson Cullen. From the hit TV series Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like this is supposed to go back here. Oh, his ass folds out! Okay. So begins chapter 2, huh? Another H-tank? Lazy. Oh, Sideswipe Prime's driving. He's not here. Well, he might be listening. Oh, another H-Tank. Lazy Hasbro. See, one of my goals as a contributor to this fandom we share is to take the things that annoy me personally, and that was really cool what just happened, and just cartoonishly strawman them into things that where people are like, it's not that I'm making people think, right, and go, maybe I shouldn't say that anymore. It's more just like, if I say that, I'm gonna remember how irritating that one guy is. Oh, his ass folds 5 seconds after telling us to behave. I mean, did it not fold? Sorry, was that his prostate? I don't think so. That was also really cool right there. I just shrugged for gas. Seems to be a little bit of a shell former. Damn, that all... Okay, so all that stuff tabbed together, super the hell cool. Remember when people were like, this is demonstrably... Looks like we got SS-86 Megatron a little early. I mean, it's a completely reasonable thing to assume, but... That's why I like getting to owning the Discourse toy late, because I can just be really smug. Is there really a Shellformer Discourse? Like a Discourse... Is this a Shellformer Discourse, or is this me having a friend telling me that they went into a Reddit thread and got annoyed? And I'm like, that's awful, but did we learn, though, what the primary cause of this was? Me half the time I talk to Aaron. Poor Aaron. Oh. People thought Solus Prime was going to be retold in a noise maze? This is like a... How do I put this? This is like a different version of how I'm not really on Twitter that much anymore. Where like... I gotta get his fallen boobs backwards? Damn it! No, it's just every now and then Aaron will tell me, like, man, I'm annoyed about something, and it will start with, like, I went onto a... And Aaron is self-aware, right? But it will start with, like, I went onto a Reddit thread... And then I try my best, but I can't help myself where I'll be like, well, Aaron, did we... Like, we know, though, like, what one of the... Oh, I see. Thank you. I see the spinny part. I'll be like, we know, though, what part of the cause was, right? Because... Like, we know what happened, right? Those folks probably were incredibly annoying, too. We all do it, right? We'll all look at, like, some... We're gonna look at something where it's like, I could just walk away, and then you don't, and it happens to everyone, right? It's just the self-awareness is that's why I believe the self-awareness is the important part. I'm turning his head around so he's not looking out the front, because I have respect. I truly, though, I did not know that there was a whole thing about people thinking that Solus was a pre-tool of Noise Maze. I'm sure if I were, like, deeper in it, I could have seen maybe some of the diagrams, but yeah, that... I mean, they could do a lot out of anything nowadays, so hey, you know? It could happen. I just have to get these things lined up. Well, that's the thing, is I don't really read the TFW comments anymore. I'll check threads if I want to, like, if I want to know, like, if there's, like, a saga going on for a toy I'm interested in. Or, like, you know, there's a known QC thing, end of fix, and even the company will send you something, but all the directions are buried on page 475 of one third-party subforum thread. So I'll, like, look around in there, but, like, I don't really look at, like, you know, the news threads. More like a cutesy issue. Aga. Have a good night, Adamus Prime. Yeah, in Galaxy Force, he was called Noise Maze, and, like, I saw Galaxy Force first, so that's just what I call him. But also because I find that that's simpler than there being, like, 14 different sidewayses. Which I know is a strange thing to say with regards to a Transformers franchise character, but, like, you know, we all have our one, right? Oh. This guy just, like, does stuff everywhere. Holy crap. How many languages do you speak? Just the one, baby! I know bits and pieces of other languages, but I can only think in English, so it really holds me back from participating in the wider discourse of, you know, the globe. Is this the right hole? Thank you, Ransom Fern. Before you asked, the barrel really does only attach on those two pegs. Okay. Many such cases. Yeah, I'm kind of... I feel like I'm supposed to be at least, like, finding a zone on here that it would rest on more happily, but it doesn't seem to really give me anything, no matter how I rotate these. Does that look better? Either way, let's extend that tip and make it juicy. Rotate one more time. So with the overhang on the top, you mean? Like that? So, I mean, that looks kind of natural, or is that supposed to be like an underbite thing? Okay, yeah, side form horse supposed to be at the top. Okay. Blap, 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 I'm a tank. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool. That's Megatronus' famous line, by the way, in case some of you aren't real fans who knew that. Forearms are meant... Oh, on the bottom, really? Let's give it a try. Oh! Actually, that seems to brace the barrel better. Okay. I'm not particular. I'm assuming I just slap this onto parts. We'll get to that later. First, I want to... It's so small! Boop! That's really cute. It's like a fireworks sparkler. Yeah, alright. Novelty lighter? Yeah, so these things I guess we can just like... I'll take a look. What did they want me to do? What does big business think I should be doing? That's interesting. Anything that isn't a hole, though. No, it really is just like stick it in the hole. Okay. Hello, synthetic pacifist. This looks weird. And then they're like, no, now make the flaming melee weapon. Like, okay, let's do it. Well, we don't know if it's lazy yet, right? You always gotta let it cook. Because then you can stick this on the side of here. And you can see how one of the flames is just stuffed in there in the middle, like real ugly style. And then you can go like, lazy. There's ways to make this vehicle integration stuff cooler, because these things, the sauce, right, is that this thing is like a keystone, and there's gonna be like somewhere to stick this, which will be like, oh damn. You know what I mean? Oh damn. Now this toy is very cool. Yeah, I've got a bunch of the 13 now, and I've still only done a video on Alchemist, so they're the next bunch of like current on shelves generation toys I want to do stuff about, because they are sparking the most joy in me. I got to do my Onyx video so that I can try to incept and manifest someone to make the upgrade kit I want, which is new forearms where the hands can transform around into claws, because that's the thing that's missing on that guy for me. Thanks, Pat Lee, for Flamey Tank. Well, you're welcome, kid. You know, I know that a lot of you out there are inspired by me and the work I did to save the Transformers, and you know, it's pretty cool to see something I invented right here in, as they call it in the industry, the plastic. Did you know I was at Cherry Bomb Toys, and someone from the toy shows recognized me from my table and was like, hey, you always have that table. I'm like, hey, I remember you. We talk sometimes about Transformers. And then B, who owns Cherry Bomb, sidled in and went like, you know, he's kind of internet famous for something. And I was like, uh-oh. So I just immediately cut him with like, yeah, he's right. I'm also Pat Lee, and I saved the Transformers. And then this was like a formative generational moment for me. This was a moment when you realize the kind of the fluidity of time and existence, because the this person and their friend both looked at each other, then at me, smiling, and were like, sorry, who's Pat Lee? And I was like, we're here! Even Pat Lee can one day simply be forgotten! So I explained to them who Pat Lee was, and they were like, damn, he sounds like he sucks. And I was like, yeah. And that was about it. It's fun telling people about Pat Lee for the first time, and then ending on, like, anyway, he proceeded to get work at Marvel. And then this past calendar year, they paid him to draw a box for a Chinese release of a Transformer. It's like Pat Lee's story to a new fan of Pat Lee is the kind of story that, like, a reasonable person would assume ends with, like, and then he was arrested. And then it's like, no, in fact, he thrived. Even B did not know that Pat Lee has a paranormal podcast about ghosts and energy systems. The Pat Lee Paranormal Podcast thing is like, it's like a whole it's like a whole bonus DLC that I didn't even know existed until... I mean, yeah, and crypto, you know. Pat Lee is kind of like naturally the kind of guy where you're like, I would actually be worried about him mortally if, like, he didn't dabble in crypto. Like, I don't know how to put it in a way that is, like, you know, makes any more sense. It's just like, Pat Lee's the kind of guy where I'd be worried about him genuinely if, like, he had skipped the crypto boom. Because I'd be like, was he okay? Did something happen? I hate that one of us showed the Pat Lee Instagram post to the other. Nature heals through balance. Funana is the way Pat Lee would write his name in Japanese, because he would switch the font on his keyboard to katakana and then type in Patrick Lee, and then use that as his Japanese artist name. So, you know, Funana, he hit the keys L-E-E, so Funana. Is Pat Lee into Gen AI? So here's the thing. I don't think he's, like, deep into generative. I think he's he's one of those guys who's a good, honest analog plagiarizer. Like, I think Pat Lee has always had a certain level of tracer. And I believe that, like, the Onyx Prime print he did, when I looked at it, I was like, this... It's hard to... I mean, obviously, you know, we're all looking at these things as 100 eyes, right? But, like, when I looked at it, I was like, I don't think he generated this. I think he traced a bunch of stuff. But, like, you know, in the current era, there is something strangely endearing about that, which is not a defense of Pat Lee. It's just, you know, working through my personal feelings. It's like, how do you put it? It's like Michael Bay on generative, where Michael Bay was like, "This stuff sucks, bro," and it's like, yeah, like Michael Bay, like, has his own ways of kind of sucking, right? But there's something bespoke about, like, the renegade suck lord who's like, I'm not gonna suck the way all these other people do. Yeah, if he generated it, we wouldn't be able to find the original. I mean, once upon a time, there was not enough generated nonsense where you could sort of, like, piece together who got scraped, but I bet Pat Lee and Troy Baker... the thing is, I think they could, because, well, Troy Baker... So Troy Baker is, like... How do I put this? The vibe I get off Troy Baker is he's just a colossal himbo. Derogatory, when, in my opinion, himbo can lean complimentary. But Troy Baker will be very easily led into being the spokesperson for stupid things, and then kind of navel gaze for a while. Like, Troy Baker's last thing was ostensibly him speaking against, you know, generative media, but his way of putting it was like, no, I like that it exists, because if this stuff exists and it sucks, it means more people will go to the theater. And it's like, yeah, man, you know, you did form a path of action and reaction there. I don't have a problem with generative because it means more people will look into the arts. And it's like, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So that's the kind of stuff that's what I refer to as someone else who coined it. I think it was Cat, it was Trent Salamander, I think it was, who connected the himbo phrasing to it, but I was like, no, that's a really good way to put it, though. It's like, I don't see any value in pursuing a conversation with this individual about it, but like, not entirely incorrect in his words, but seems kind of stupid, though. Yeah, Verspringen, you got to see that dude. So it was one of, if not kind of the G1 box artist has been, and I don't actually dislike the guy. I just feel bad for him. Like, I pity him. He is brain rotted on generative. Like, having looked at his website, having seen him, you know, from afar, you know, spectating from a distance, either, you know, at a distance in person, at a distance on the internet. The way he's carrying himself at TF cons. I can't even remember his name, but he's the one who was like selling a table with the back of the box art on it or something. And I just think that dude is brain rotted on the stuff. I think that he's a very, you know, very malleable cortex taken advantage of very easily. Mark Watts, there you go. So, like, don't buy Mark Watts's trashy, you know, Gen AI stuff. It looks awful. That's the reason also why I feel Mark Watts I actually just feel bad for him, because the stuff he shares eagerly and confidently for sale as justification for this kind of stuff looks awful. And he's like, you see, it lets me do things I couldn't dream of. And it's like, oh, brother, like, you're just gone. Okay, well, yeah, it's just sad. Like, the best way that I would describe viewing that dude is like, I just walked out of the panel because it was too depressing kind of stuff. Like, I could pick apart the guy, but it's like, I don't know, I'm not sure he would understand what I'm saying, you know? But yeah, it's the guy who had lots of G1 box art, lots of gradients. The original G1 Brawn artwork drawing the Brawn toy, but in a dynamic... Like, the G1 box art has this really interesting... like, I like it. It's got this really interesting element of taking these, like, weird... already weirdly shaped little box and stick men robots, and then trying to, like, draw them all bent into, like, poses, and, you know, there's something to it, but yeah, he's not like, you know, a centenarian or anything, but he got older, and I would not be surprised if someone got to him and sold him a lot of stuff to do this kind of artwork, quote unquote. Is the plasticizer on the Fallen Flames trustworthy? I would say don't leave them in forever. But it's not, it doesn't feel greasy, you know? Like, I would leave it, you leave them on for, like, you know, a week or two, it's probably fine. If you don't think you're gonna mess with the figure for months, then I would put them in a bag.
And I mean, to be fair, I am kind of paraphrasing like stuff I couldn't dream of, but you know, I think we've all at this point encountered the kind of like genuinely kind of brain rotted artist who's like, you know, oh no, it's not just about making stuff faster. It's letting me visualize things that like otherwise it's letting me connect to a larger dreamscape, like that kind of thing. Where you're like, oh man, like you're just, you know, can I introduce you to weed? You know, like, you know, that it's a little bit more wholesome, a little bit more quantifiable. Have you tried kombucha? Yeah. And, I mean, to be fair, right? The dude probably had his era, right? Wait a minute, this guy hasn't fallen, he's still standing. True. I want a refund! Yeah, I mean, like, from what I've seen, like, no, listen, JT, the only reason I have actually positive experience with weed is because of my mom, is what I'll say. Aren't we in an era now where they've, like, started, like, safety-izing and kind of, like, you know, making normal mushrooms now, too? I don't know. I have no interest in the stuff, but I have a couple friends who, when I would tell them about cannabis stuff, they'd be like, yeah, no, they got mushroom stores now, too. I'm like, well, that's neat. Baby weed. Hang on, my nose is runny now. I get sad thinking about people getting brain rot on that stuff. Also, I was gonna try to go like, look what came out! This is the thing I've been using to like, wipe off, leakages or, like, you know, messes on my fountain pens. But also, like, doesn't it look like I just had a wild explosion in my... Now, my nose gets runny as soon as I go outside. We have, for those who don't know, Ontario has an Arctic blast polar vortex right now. So and we have very dry cold outside. So when I go outside and breathe, it takes about a minute, and then I'm just dripping because my inner flesh dries out and tries to manufacture moisture to compensate, and it's a disaster. Anyway, The Fallen, pretty dark. I don't know if anyone has mentioned this anywhere on the internet, so you're hearing it here first. The Fallen, Age of the Primes, The Fallen, I think is pretty cool. Kind of a neat toy, actually. I'm going to hop us over to the browser view. I forgot that was there. Because I did get linked. So I'm going to grab this. Let's do some watch-along stuff. I'm going to turn the volume off so that this is remotely YouTube safe. For me, not for you. This is me looking out for me now. Because the couple of times I've done React Earl stuff, I have then instantly had a stream get claimed for soft back. Like I understand the hardship now that some of these, you know, contemporaries go through. I'm gonna make this so that we can blow up the video all the way. Yeah, baby. All the way. Aesthetics. There we go. Anyway, now I get it. I get the hardship. Whoops, I just shrank y'all. Sorry about that. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I'm glad I shrank y'all. Anyway. I understand the hardships now. Because I'll have, like, a snippet of background music from a trailer for a game, and then get claimed by, like, 15 things. I'm hyperbolizing slightly. Where it's like, you can't help but notice you're trying to make money off of Tears for Fears, and it's like, it's a trailer. So I'm just going to turn desktop audio off so I don't have to think about it. Joke's on you, I'm into this. Nah. Let's start off with this extra, because I heard so much about this and then never watched the video. So this is the Xtransbots blade. By the way, someone asked how I'm doing with the MMC combiners. At the last toy show, Ian Hard Return had a test shot and then a pretty much retail version. He was selling both of the MMC blades, so I bought his mostly retail version. I believe that the faces on mine are not as intensely blue as the final retail version. I don't care. So I finished Defensor. I took a really cool picture of him. It's up on Blue Sky somewhere. I'll share it later if I can find it. Yeah, .net, hardreturn.net. So I have completed Defensor. I've completed Ocular Max, All in Perfection Series, Ultra Maximus. Sorry, Maximus Pro. So the only thing I need to do now on the back end for mine is I got to eventually figure out if I can get a new leg for Vortex, because I have a tab that broke off, and the figure still works. I just don't like that I know that the tab broke. Some of you have to know what I'm talking about. When functionally the toy's the same, but you know a tab broke somewhere, and so there's like a bit that moves slightly more, and you know it's happening, and so you're like, but if I can get it fixed though. So anyway, I've been meaning to do that for 3 years on Vortex. I just keep forgetting to get it sorted out. And I know people who can help me sort this out. Because it's not like I need an entirely new Vortex. I just need a leg part. And I know people in chains who can probably get me a leg part. But also, if it's too late and I can't figure it out, I don't know, I'll deal with it. It's fine. Anyway, I should turn this thing on. I want to make it so I can see the video and you all. So I'm going to shrink this video window slightly on my end and then resize it over there. Shrink you up nice and pocket-sized. Heh, yeah. So let me think, just before we get going, whoops, what might my recommendations be at the end if they pop up? So currently my YouTube feed, because of my new hyperfixations, is a very strange melange of journaling, fountain pens, politics, VTubers, model kits, and I know I've seen some food videos in there somewhere, and that one I actually don't really know why. So anyway, I'm going to turn this on. By the way, Maximal's Heart is the channel we're looking at. I'm going to share the link in the chat, because Maximal's Heart is just another YouTuber. She knows what those are. She's German. Listen, there's a lot of things I'm proud of with the Teutonic half of my heritage, and yes, very well-made dildos is a big part of. Anyway, I feel like I've already skipped a step. What's going on here? Okay, we just did a jump cut. All right. You can't hear this you can only hear this through my speakers into my mic, right? It's not playing the audio over things. Also, what's going on? What like, you can probably hear something quietly. Why is there a Dark Souls open? What do those four have to do with him? I really missed something. Anyway. Yeah, Xtransbots' current thing is they're just doing the combiner chunk as a well-featured separate part. I think it's fine. You know, they're leaning into it, which is the important thing. It's got a clicky elbows. That's kind of cool. Like, you know, the Devastator guys are doing the same thing. I think it's fine. Didn't know about that. Okay. Didn't think the legs were just going to come off like that. Makes sense. Makes sense. You know, the elbow's a big piston. So the question is going to be, is this a lot? Is transforming the two disembodied legs going to be a lot to deal with, or is this just going to be, you know, a quick little, why did that come off? The other thing is, I sometimes get the vibe Maximal Heart doesn't like Xtransbots Keith stuff, but does videos anyway. I mean, so far this seems fine. In that you're just moving everything that moves. So there's not like a lot of decision space, which is an important thing for something that works like this. Is that a ball joint? Nah. I am a little bit curious whether you have to remove the legs when you're not doing... I'm guessing no, because the thigh is over there now. Yeah, KFC and Xtransbots are kind of sort of the same, but like a little bit different. But they're all under the Keith umbrella. And, you know, bless Keith, because Keith just makes stuff. So my immediate thought is this seems like, as far as a move everything that moves transformation, it looks like it's pretty intuitive in that you just move everything, right? But I'm already noticing, just spectating this, that the prospect of watching it twice, and thus, you know, relatedly, the prospect of doing this twice seems maybe a little bit irritating. My understanding was always Xtransbots was supposed to be the lush stuff, whereas Keith's Fantasy Club was more of the, like, Keith just wants to make this stuff. I have an appreciation for the, like, the side of third-party transforming robot toys that are unofficial, where it's a guy who owns a factory and is a nerd and is like, I want one, and they have to make a bunch because that's how it works when you make stuff in factories. My favorite version of this always is going to be Leewin, though. You know, for the giant MP10, for the 4-foot-tall Metroplex, and then for whatever Leewin may do afterwards. Is that only going to be a peg on the thighs? Is this just like a peg and a hole connection for the thighs? That seems like it's kind of confident. To my knowledge, nobody knows who Keith is that would talk about it, and I kind of like it that way. I like that we just have somewhere out there, Keith. You know, other third-party companies have fallen, yet Keith just continues, because Keith owns a factory. I assume Keith owns a factory that does stuff other than toys, or at least other than these toys. And yeah, like the Keith Junkions, you know, I have the original two. They're kind of weird, but like, to my knowledge, the like hundreds of colorways version improved a couple bits and is a completely fine toy. Is that really just a peg? Oh, it's a peg and a tab. Okay. Like, this isn't going to communicate... Unless Maximal Heart just, you know, yanks them off to show it. This could be fine, or this could be, like, horrifying. It looks like they're really hard to push in there, so I'm guessing you have to put in some work to separate them, which could be horrifying in a different way. Like, it would be neat if there was a little bit of a, you know, a lock mechanism or something, so we're not just jamming them on and off over and over again. The hands were shaking there. Like, that's a... This is like the shaking of the hands, and just leaving all this in is another bit of, like, evidence for my theory that Maximal's Heart actually really doesn't like these Xtransbots toys. Because I feel like I've watched another... yeah. I feel like I've watched another one pointing at it where... Oh, it's that peg bit he showed before. Okay. I feel like I've watched another one where Maximal's Heart was doing an Xtransbots thing and just seemed to have, like, how do you put this? Tactilely communicated contempt for what he was working with. Okay, thanks, Akan Lord. Second release of the Rekar, remove the delicate fingers, use the more versatile curled fingers. The jump cut there was like 3 days. Just went like, all right, got the goddamn legs on. I'm taking a break. It's the weekend. And I you know, I will say it again. I'm absolutely... What the f... Hang on, I'm sorry. What did you do? I'm gonna play that the right way around. Why did you do that? Is Maximal's Heart a fan? Does anyone know? I forgot what I was saying. No, right. The term is body language. No, but we only see hands. You can't do body language with just hands. Even when people say, "Oh, what are you doing there?" You see my arms though. You see them in relation to me. I was saying something else and I forgot it because that really threw me. Like, okay, so for instance, again, to give props where they're due, I think it's really cool to make sure that when you have combiner gush, that it does something. So obviously, you know, flight stand. I think that's neat. I can't remember if the one with their first aid does anything. I can't remember. Is he going to show the panel falling off again? That's a flight stand. Look, it's a... Hang on. See, it's a stand and it's holding it, so it looks like it's flying. And there's... Down here... Okay, you can see my mouse. Down here, there's four little... a quad pod, if you will, of die-cast, like, flip-out little feet. Which tells me this is, like, designed with intent to actually, like, be a little flight stand thing. I understand that, like, the stand connector part is Defensor's hand doing, you know, the shocker, but ignore that part. Thanks, man. I was wondering if those wheels could roll. No. Okay. That's a swap. Okay. I keep waiting for him to just rip pieces off now. Well, okay. I guess those... Hang on. I guess those don't stay on as like through the transformation like I assume that. Maybe this is just, you know, maybe we're just having funsies here. That did seem to come off pretty straightforwardly, but... Hey! Like, if anyone doesn't know, I will say, Mastermind Creations' Blades is probably the most complex of the 5 Protectobots standalone. You can see in the toy that it did in fact go from being like one of the first couple to come out to the last one, and it had a long period of redesign. So it's a complex one. Like Vortex and Blades from Mastermind Creations are both very complex. And, you know, definitely to a point of having a ceiling that could be irritating for people. 100%. I think there was a neat trick on the backpack there. With those two foldy bits, those two swivelly bits there. So it's like it's making a fake version of the propeller bed. Like, that's some interesting geometry. It looks maybe a little annoying to... looks like he's working with a... Oh, okay, he didn't fold those bits out of the way. I was gonna say, it looked like a slide puzzle for a second. Like, that's an interesting solution. That's why I think it's important to look at a figure like this with some granularity. Not obvious, you know, to clarify, not with the intent of like, well, am I purchasing it or not? But when we are simply assessing it, right, for fun, out of interest of the genre and the hobby. There's always little things that you can pick out that are kind of neat, like the way the backpack worked there. I'm feeling a little bit squeamish at how much all those curved, smoky, translucent parts are kind of just getting pancake squashed together like that, but... Like, you know, full disclosure, the MMC one just has that stuff as the backpack. And yeah, I'm really still a little bit... I would like to know if this toy has to eject... Ejecting the propeller blades is one thing. That just means less stuff banging into your knuckles. That's fine. But, like, does this piece really... Does it behoove it to just eject the legs for similar reasons? Because that's sort of a bummer if so. Has he got, like, a little just, like... Is it just sticking right off the front? No, okay, that's his ass. He's got a little tail then. Okay. A little bit... There's a full arm in there, so this can't be too... Yeah, this can't be... This is making those things into shoulder pads. The arm has structure, so that's good. What's up, T-Fan Page? Doing a little React Andy. This is a Maximal's Heart piece that I was going to look at months ago. And I saved it. Stubbornly. To look at here. Okay, that seems fine. That could have been more complicated. That is one of the silliest things to deal with if you're, like, doing a very G1 Blades, is making all that stuff turn into a little panel with a ski on it. But no, like, a classic Xtransbots oh god moment is when you look at something and go like, wait, that's supposed to turn into an arm. So it's really nice to see that, like, the arms on this are not, you know, a saga in and of themselves. And the way that this stuff is folding is much like going back to the helicopter mode from the arm mode. It kind of just looks like you move everything that moves. And in my opinion, like, that's fine. There's a specific line that gets crossed when you go from that into something that is more wantonly complex. Yeah, this guy's name is Jian. J-I-A-N. Jian. And yeah, demonstrably, you could have just left the blades in there. They would have just been flapping around and probably annoying. It looks like he had to bang them on the table to make them compress, so that seems maybe like an issue. Do they lock in anywhere? I guess we'll find out. So this is a bit of a repeat. I'm curious if this looks as intuitive as I assume it will be, given that it is, again, just moving everything that moves. Like, you know, lots of stuff is moving, don't get me wrong. It's just that a process like this has its own version of intuitivity if you don't have to make decisions, right? If there's no, like thick decision space to operate in, it's just like, I'm going to move everything. Then it's just, you know, it's maybe busy work, but it's not, to me, like, as horrifying. Yeah, Ransom Fern, Hard Return gave me some tips on site, and I figured out, helped me figure out the Oxblade shoulder pads, because, yeah, at first blush, it's very easy to get them kind of, like, jammed up in themselves. I I can't really say off the top of my head what I have to like be looking at them to remember. But I found there was sort of an order that presented itself once I knew where things were supposed to go. That's kind of satisfying, the way that the really 80s animation foot comes together, like with that trapezoidal shape. I got a feeling like those legs just come off really easily. Since the toys, I'm guessing now, is out, does anyone know if that's like a common thing? So I'm getting the feeling that, like, that's maybe one of the stories of this piece. I did also ask Ian Hardreturn, hey, was it you who told me that the first two Omnibots kind of sucked, and that Punch Counter Punch especially sucked from XTB? And he was like, yes. I was like, okay, thank you. Because Camshaft looks like he might be good, and I would like to get a Camshaft, not in Camshaft colors, but in some freaky colorway. And I know the rally ones are even worse because everything is water slide transfers that don't adhere very well on points of friction. I've learned that part. Ian, in fact, jumped in to tell me that when we were going to the toy show. I like there's a little divot. Hang on, I like there's a little divot for the propeller rivet. See, like that little spot there? Yeah, it pops in. I like that. I believe Ian Hardreturn, in fact, that part that's the part, isn't it, that came off? Yeah, okay. Maximal's heart hates this toy, I think. Is that it? Wait, hold on. Is there just a piece of it? There, do you see that? Do you all see this? Right here. There's just like a piece of white plastic sitting there. What happened? Is it a little egg? Toy candy. Yeah, tasty, tasty. Oh, you're right. You're right. Hang on. Yeah, I think it was what that looked bigger on the others. Maybe it's just the way the light's catching it. I gotta see that again. Hang on. Watch the thumbs up. Hey. That was great. The propellers are just hanging out. Okay, so they don't have anywhere to go up there. Alright, well, that's a shame. Remember Miles' Tails blades? I mean, the propellers, they're supposed to be pointing up, and it looks like they just don't have a way to lock in. That's unfortunate. Anyway, I'm gonna go to the Ironhide video now. This is off the Fanstoys YouTube page. They have very good videos. They better be paying this person because these are very well made. Okay. Hey, you see that? That's just... And you can hear the plastic being moved. These are good instructional videos. I don't know what Transformation 2 is. So much like when we watched Marg together many months ago, the real question here is, like, do we hit a point, like with Marg, or like with their RC, where you can tell someone was just like, I don't want to work on this part anymore. I have a good idea for what happens after, and then it's just like... Yeah, sorry. I have the sound turned down because I get claimed when I react earnest to things. So it's just for safety's sake. And also, if you want to hear the really nice plastic noises, why don't you go watch the video on its original channel? So, like, so far this seems fine. I'm a little bit, you know, I'm curious how those long pins are holding up. Not inherently bad, though. Slide. We're getting a little bit off screen here, but, you know, what are we doing? Okay. So is this thing's whole bit, like, that the weapons sled is, like, transformed into the backpack? Because that's kind of neat if so. QC-wise, as far as I know, Fanstoys stuff is usually fine. It's just, like, the design quality varies wildly from figure to figure, as far as what your taste may be for how it transforms. Like, so far this seems okay. Like, nothing about this sticks out as, like, terribly, you know, terribly kooky or anything. Like I said, this all seems like very logical motions. To use my phrase I was using before that I stole from game design, it doesn't seem like there's, like, really huge decision spaces to contend with, which on a transforming toy I think is, like, what you want to pursue. Like, even if you're going for complex, if it's obvious what to do, then, you know, whatever. Wait, rotate 90 degrees? Now, you're asking a whole lot of me here. I do kind of wish that we, like, I know other people have said this, and I've really started coming around on this thought process as every year goes by. Like, just push slider stuff feels like you're asking for trouble years down the road. Like, nowadays, it doesn't always have to be the double hinge thing, but, like, I would like a little, like, latch system that locks it on the top and bottom, you know? Also, yeah, apparently we're going to be the coldest place on Earth this week. Hooray. Yeah, I thought the arms were going to explode or something, so I'm really happy to see they just do a thing once. So here's the question, can we just fold it together? This is where the little Optimus on Marg got a little bit kooky. And yeah, hundreds of dangly things is annoying. Like, I think I've said this before, I really prefer my complex things to work in chunks where I work on a part and finish it. To be fair, this looks like something that you could, you know, from what we've seen so far, it seems feasible that this Ironhide could be done in chunks like that, so you don't have to have him, like, you know, shrimp splayed open on the table. That seemed to be, like, maybe more so for the video. Oh, the dangerous little latch. What do we reveal when we turn that out? That looks okay. I am seeing in the chat they saved the limb explosion, but... Like, this feels kind of like the Magic Square Ironhide in a way I don't mind. All the... I'm glad I can hear the plastic, because it helps me feel better about the sliding stuff. That's a lot of latches. Oh no, that's the first latch we saw. Okay, never mind. So it's 2 extra ones. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about how many, you know, incisions there were on the foot. But I'm not lost. There's a couple little flippity bits that seem kind of just more annoying, but they feel like things you are going to naturally do while you're messing with this thing. Wait, what? Oh, it makes it silver. Okay, whatever. And obviously, I'm not messing with the toy, so I'm kind of making guesses a little bit as an onlooker here. I do like if we were going to get, yeah, a no-pause version of this. That might help communicate this a bit better. The thing about this process, right, on the legs, is there's a lot of, like, pull out to widen the hinge and then slide a thing. If I couldn't hear stuff, I'd be more worried about that stuff being creaky or, like... flaccid or brittle. It sounds okay. You know, that's not the entire story, obviously, but at first blush, at least, it doesn't sound like you have to worry about those slide moments. It's sort of unfortunate that there is, like, a lot of time being spent on having a, you know... a rear bumper? Is that the rear bumper? I'm guessing. Whatever the silver bar stuff is forming a bumper. But yeah, like this notion here, if we're going to be closing the wheel chassis together and then folding the van together, that's really cool if they pulled that kind of flow off on this. Best of luck for springing. Get minerals that are tasty and also healthy. Friggin' Mickey Mouse gloves. Yeah, my current feeling on watching this is what I would say pleasant surprise. I thought there was going to be a detonation of jointed sticks, either in the torso or the legs. Or some kind of, like, really freaky order of operations driven, like, collision fest somewhere. There's always time. For one last kiss. There's always time. For one last jointed armature. T-posing with your leg flaps. Oh, yeah, there's the moment I was talking about. Looks like it actually does it. Props. I said it looks like it does it. Props. Come on. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. That's just showing, tab slot stuff. Yeah, they put in a whole lot of extra work to have a clean rear bumper, right, I guess. And it's like, well, maybe the front bumper too. All the bumper was in there, it turns out. It's like, you know, that's cool. I probably could have done without a bumper. Finally, we're going to close the bumper! What's messed up is people want a clean bumper, and like, but what does a bumper do? It bumps. It gets bumped. Tell me you can just push that down. Come on, just give it a... Just give it a... Yeah, just do that. Good, yeah. Yeah, dang, okay, that was actually... that was alright. You know, watching a video of it, at least, this seemed alright. Okay! So what the heck is transformation number 2? Is that must be the backpack into the sled. Is this not just removing the backpack, unfolding it, and sticking things on it? Or are they turning him into the Diaclone suit? I don't know. I didn't actually keep up with what this toy does. I'm assuming it's the sled, given the thumbnail, but... You just got recommended the stream you were doing. They know me well! Slides off, though, right? In third mode, he fell over and exploded. Pull out, Prime! Pull out! Pull out! Prime! Alright, that's alright. I was wondering how it was going to separate. That seems like an okay mechanism. It's a little airplane. You know, I appreciate making a play pattern out of the sled. They were doing this with their Constructicons too. I really like that whoever, because their designs qualities vary so wildly. I always feel weird saying there is a Fanstoys team because it doesn't feel like it. Whoever they are working with right now on a bunch of this stuff has a more toyetic brain about some of this in a way I really appreciate. Because all their Constructicons can store the combiner mush on their body some way, you know, by transforming it a bit. And there's something about that I really like compared to, like, having a giant pelvis. As Energon toe line homage. Where's the dang toe line repaint? Where's my repaint that I am owed as a fan? Oh yeah. His friggin' head is compacted into his own intestinal system. Wait! Was I right? Does he turn into a funny, goofy thing? I gotta say, I didn't think it was gonna happen. I thought I would... That ain't bad. That's pretty cool. Okay. Looks so stupid. I love it. Because his legs are just normal legs. It's Ironhide when he gets hit over the head really, really hard. Okay, alright. Would have been cool if you could have just bent the knees forward or something to give him the plank feet. Yeah, they are recommending my own stream to me, dang. Weird. While we're here, do I want to look at Gaudi? I'll leave it up. Do you all... This would be the end of the ending for us here for tonight. Do you want to look at Gaudi since we're already here? Do you what really happened to Zoids? Did I miss a wreck somewhere in there? Chomp chomp. All right, let's see how Gaudi works. Sure, we're already here. 5-minute transformation. Hello, hello. Because I gotta say, the Fanstoys Constructicons have been looking really, like, a lot better than I thought they were going to when they were just CAD models. They made kind of playable looking toys out of these, and I was impressed by that. That's just what Hook's feet look like. Sunbow Hook is a weird guy. Oh, Fanstoys toys are selling out before review. Dang, that's annoying. I appreciate that we are working within the space of Hook kind of turns into himself lying down. Yeah, most of this transformation does seem to be in the service of, like, making his really weird feet from the cartoon a reality. Oh, it goes sideways. It's kind of funny. Yeah, GoBot legs. That was one of the upsides of the attention given by the fandom to Studio Series 86 Hook, was more people realizing that, like, in the cartoon, Hook actually just has really weird feet. Close! Happy for the weird Hook feet fans. You don't want to look in the comments section of Hook's wiki feed page. It's just a disaster. It's just worse than a TV tropes discussion page. It's something very cute and quaint about those little, like, gray nodules being the lock end cover for the wrist stump. I'm gonna say, like, +1 points if you just shove his head in, like, just... G1 toy style, just shove his head in there. Push on his funny little... you push... That's not the right way. Rotate! -1 point! But yeah, no interest in, like, spending money on them, but I was... Both Xtransbots and Fanstoys' Devastator sets looked like things that I would not mind being, like, given for coverage. Which is ostensibly a weird way to put it, but how can I best describe this? Sometimes in past, I worked with, say, a local vendor who would lend me an Xtransbots toy, and go like, oh yeah, I can lend it to you for a video. And it would be of... not a lot of fun. I'd be lent an Xtransbots, say, Scourge, or a Fanstoys Mind Wipe, and I would kind of just feel stressed. So I'm guessing this is... Oh, is this the one? This is the one with the funny, the funny heads. This is the one with the face. The I just smelled too much Gugon face. G1 style armature. We have come a little ways with, you know, high-end, unofficial Transformer hands that fold into spaces. Do y'all remember that era? And this was often an Xtransbots Keith's Fantasy thing, where, like, the articulated hands would swing into a chasm like that, right? But because nothing was securing the fingers, once they were folded into the fingers, or into the socket, the fingers could, like, start catching on things inside, and you try to fold it out, it's like the robot's own fingers were gripping stuff inside, fighting you. I think that armature is just machined steel, not even die-cast. Oh, dang. I am no expert on that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what I'd be looking like, or looking like. I don't look like either of those things. I'm not sure what I'd be looking at. Also, you can't hear it as clearly as I can, but I forgot that the Fanstoys page, like, plays this incredibly triumphant cinematic music during these things. So we're watching this little, like, deployment of this little, you know, this little, like, hook tab latch thing carefully coming out. It's like, dun 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 dun, and there's, like, a choir in the background, like, oh. And this little nodule is deploying out of his inner thigh. A Dark Souls OST. Yeah, a compliment I can give this is that the complexities of what's going on somehow, to me, aesthetically resemble the framework, framework feel of the G1 hook toy when it goes into its upper torso mode, because it also has, like, a pull armatured, rivety swing thing. Obviously much simpler to deal with, but something very reminiscent of that notion in some of the decisions made here, which is interesting. And yeah, his legs, Sunbow Hook has just funny looking legs. This done out of nowhere. Transformation finished. I very much want to collect the Mastermind Creations Devastator folks, but I also still really want to pick up the whatever, they're not called Transform Dreamwave. That's a different company. You know, the Prowlistator set that has bits of a Megatron that form the combiner hunks. Dreamstar Toys, I think it is. I still want to collect theirs. I haven't heard anything terrible about it, and I love the vibe, and it sounds like it's them doing a redemption story after their reportedly terrible Superion. Dreamstar Toys, yeah. When their Devastator stuff started coming out, the first comment I saw in the TFW thread that really stuck with me was someone saying it feels like a completely different company. I do still have TFC Hercules somewhere. But yeah, the Dreamstar set is proccing a lot of my buffs. So if business picks up real well this year, that might be something among the many things I could be pursuing. Yeah, they were the monochrome Superion. MGO has one of the few videos that I could find that covers the finished Superion combined mode of that thing, and it's a fascinating video to watch. It's an example of a toy imploding under its own weight on camera in some interesting ways. Oh. Adam Rockmore with the what? Oh, it's just the combined mode. No, listen. The complexities of getting from Sunbow robot mode to Sunbow vehicle mode. They gotta go to some dark places, y'all. This is the animation error vehicle mode. Oh, I'm a big fan of the head being in there. I know it's pretty obvious, like, that the head would be in there. It's just like, you know, there was an era where the head would just be a plank that you'd attach afterwards. It's so flat! What? Oh, it does transformation stuff. I love it. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's a dynamic a dynamic ass head ass reveal ass for a combiner. I love that kind of stuff. Hell yeah. Okay. It was so flat when it came out. Head spim. You got it. Yeah, the giant box just having the head in there is really, it's a nice touch. On my own time, I gotta watch this Sovereign 2.0 guide, because I have original Sovereign, and again, if business picks up, I might pick up Sovereign 2, because I kind of like Sovereign 1. Although, I talked to Face Forward and found out Sovereign 2 still comes with the giant, stupid pine cone. And it's like, it never worked! Just don't do the energy blast effect thing. They try to have this, like, giant version of it for him flying with it, and it's like, it doesn't work! As far as I know, it doesn't work on the new one either. Is there a picture of the pine cone? Yeah, let me just see if there's a pine cone deployment moment here. Yeah, this thing! The pine cone! It's simpler now, but I still hate the pine cone. It doesn't work! Since, from what I've been told, I haven't watched the video yet, but from what I've been told, this is, like, a good 60 to 80% a completely new toy. And I liked their first Galvatron. I generally like a lot of third-party Galvatrons for one reason or another, and theirs I ended up liking. I think that the cannon mode... so, my biggest problem with their Galvatron was the cannon mode. The two front legs were really just Galvatron's robot arms. And apparently that is not the case on this one, and that is also the source of some mass complexity on this one, is making the arms just, like, go away. So, that, you know... The first Sovereign had his own massive complexity thing of trying to push a bunch of the toy through the central cylinder in a certain order. Guys, I can't wait for the Make Toys Galvatron that's still coming out. That's right. Me too. Cross Dimensions Galvatron. It's coming out any day now. But yeah, let's just go to a let's go to a random segment. As you can see, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff going on. Is there another good part I can just like look at? I think this one is not trying to punch as much through the center mass as the first one. Galvatron's like, help me! But you know, like when you pull the cannon out, there's like that kind of gray ring, right? The first Sovereign, the main issue with transforming it is how much stuff is trying to like thread in and out through that ring. Here the like head flipping around doesn't seem... Yeah, there's it looks like there's less collision happening this time, which is nice to see. It'd be really funny in the 1986 Transformers the movie if he just turned into that and and Starscream was like, rather than Megatron, is that you? He's just like, are you okay? And then, like, a laser shoots out of here and just blows his head off. Here's a hint. I mean, think about the you know, in-universe logistics of it. He just became a completely new robot body, right? From the inside out. I'm sure if he like, there's a version of events where Galvatron goes like, I'm gonna blow you up, and then like, you know, realizes, oh, I've never transformed in this body before. Oh, Jesus! And this just, you know, flops over in a long trail of parts with a gun dangling on the end. Or imagine if Galvatron like tried to transform but using the same muscle motions as his old gun body. And you know, some of the unexplored sci-fi science of the Transformers, right? Like when they transform, how much does it resemble muscle memory? And then, like, if they reformat a new form, but their transformation scheme is different, you know, what happens if someone who was a van has now reformatted into a giraffe? but then tries to transform like a van. That's right, Long was here. Shout out to 86 Megs always being a tank in that movie. He still thinks he turns into a pistol, crushes a random Cyclonus Armada dudes, why we don't see them again. Exactly, it's canon. Those cube toys that flip inside out have different printing on the other side. Some of that stuff could be really cool. There was an old... I think there's an old 90s toy line that was built around that play pattern, but I can't remember anything about it. Just that it would be like a red things turns blue or something. Going from tank to cannon is a bold choice, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna load up something here. I'm gonna double click this. I'm gonna turn this button back on. And double click this. And then I'm gonna say MMC's has naked gray legs but actual feet. That's what I saw in the renders, because we only know the legs so far. Anyway, hi, Space Blaster, thank you. Thanks for watching, by the way. Nice to be back, going at it, doing the whole thing. We're streaming, haha. I'm going to try to get a news dive in before the end of the month. And I'm also, now that I'm writing in a paper calendar, I've been like looking at it going like, maybe I should also... I don't want to commit to a streaming day because I want my life to be free and my own, but I might try to figure out at least a semi-regular streaming window and write it into my paper calendar, or write at least fit it in around other dates as they happen in my paper calendar. I'll figure it out. I wrote a whole list of streams I want to do. We still got to do Clip Watcher 2025 as well. Watch all the user clips made from the last year. But in the meantime, hey, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, like... for real. Any Toy Hacks code? Yes, it's Old Vangelus. It should be a community post. I don't actually have the picture ready to go. But Old Vangelus is this month's code. It's supposed to be like Old Lang whatever. And then people were like, Aldi, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever works for you. But it is stickied on my Blue Sky. It is a community post on the YouTube page. It's on Tumblr somewhere. I think it's on Instagram as well. Thank you, Long was here. That is your code if you want to get some stickies. A call to action! But yeah, I will catch you all later. I demand your survival. And like I said, stay safe out there, whether it is the cold or, you know, the extremely interesting times. Funny story, I actually lost my ice cube tray the other day because I dropped it. The thing exploded all over the place. But you know what was kind of nice to see all over the floor? Ice just, like, smashed to pieces.
Let them come.